Well, a group committed to keeping Ontario Place a public space is speaking out about the city's delay in planning an Ontario Place community consultation. Ontario Place for All is concerned that the city will postpone the Ontario Place community consultation that was promised for June. They say with the Therma Megaspa development application at a critical point and public attention at an all-time high, it is crucial that Torontonians get an opportunity to have their say when it counts, not when all of the important decisions have already been made. Well, the Chief of Staff for Asma Malik, who is the councillor for Ward 10, tells CP24 at this time the city has not scheduled a community consultation on Ontario Place in June, though it was committed to. The time frame for the development application that was shared publicly had Infrastructure Ontario and Therma resubmitting their application with changes to the city in June. There was a commitment from the city staff for a community consultation as part of the development application process ahead of that resubmission deadline, either late May or early June. As far as we understand, IO and Therma have received substantial feedback from the public and city staff in the past months. If they are delayed in their response and formal resubmission, that can't be a reason to compromise public engagement that was promised for June. Well, meanwhile, fences have now been erected blocking access to the West Island of Ontario Place. The barriers are at the edge of Trillium Park, preventing pedestrians and cyclists from getting through on the pathway to the public space. The Ford government says the fences are to protect the public during construction.
If we don't do the site servicing work and the shoreline enhancements, there won't be an island to enjoy years from now, Mr. Speaker. There are erosion and flooding issues. But that being said, Mr. Speaker, we have three wonderful tenants that are investing hundreds of millions of dollars to bring the site back to life so that 4 to 6 million people come there to enjoy with their families.
And for more on this, we're joined live by Norm DePasquale, co-chair of Ontario Place for All. Thanks for stopping by, Norm. I know you've been, championing, this particular site for the people of Ontario, and obviously, hearing that there's delays about these consultations has to be some concern for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're here practically at the beginning of June, and with momentum and interest in Ontario Place at an all-time high, we just want the city to commit to the consultations they have promised. People are very concerned. I mean, you see the fences coming up at Ontario Place with no sort of notice. Like, it's up to a grassroots group like Ontario Place for All to tell the community, hey, there's a fence up, now you can't cycle and jog through the site. And then we also have this demolished and shrunken science center moving to Ontario Place, and what looks like a single source contract for bars and nightclubs to a nightclub operator who is a friend of the Fords. People are really concerned with the developments in Ontario Place and really want to have their say now.
Have you reached out? Has there been any response?
Yeah, so we reached out in terms of this press release. The fact that we haven't heard anything at the beginning of June doesn't leave us with a lot of hope that the consultation is being planned as was promised. So we have reached out, and we've also, of course, spoken to Councillor Malik, who's been excellent and supportive on this file. She also wants to make sure that Torontonians have their say. As we leak into July, people start getting off on summer vacations, and we're really starting to lose a lot of the public who are keenly interested right now to have their say, especially given concerning recent developments around the Science Centre, the fencing, and nightclubs and bars given to what seems to be a Ford insider. Well,
there's a lot of eyes and attention that's being put on this particular project. Do you really think that the Ford government would not involve the community, considering that's something that they said they wanted to do? And in fact, Therma also said that as well.
Yeah, so the Ontario government started this whole process without consulting a single Ontarian. They just went out to an RFP, a secret RFP and something like 35 bidders responded. We're not allowed to see the other bidders, and they selected the bidders that they wanted, and then they essentially told Ontarians what was coming to Ontario Place. What we believe is that public interest, not commercial interest, must drive the new vision of Ontario Place. And the Ontario government has simply got it wrong up to this point and has not consulted the way they should have. The city has done a much better job, but we do want the city to keep their promise and commit to the consultation schedule they laid out.
I was going to ask, what kind of other things would you like to see from the city to get them more involved? Obviously, we're hearing from one councillor, but do you think that this is something that needs to be brought, that all councillors need to get involved in? I know it's just in a specific ward, but at the end of the day, this is a destination place that is really supposed to be welcoming not only for all Torontonians, but for all Ontarians as well.
Yes, and I'm really encouraged by what I'm hearing from the other councillors. This went to Toronto East York Community Council, and we heard some really supportive supportive notes from Councillor Perks, Councillor Bravo, and Councillor Moyes. They are getting more engaged. We are reaching out and we are giving them briefings, and the ones that we've spoken to are all really excited to stand up for Ontario Place, and we have been encouraged by what we're seeing there. And we're going to continue to work with City Hall, and even the mayor election. This is now a key election issue. We want the new mayor to stand up for Torontonians and stand up for our public space.
That's where I was leading in this next part of my chat, because we're hearing a lot about the main issues that are affecting the city of Toronto when it comes to affordability, transportation, safety. But I'm guessing this is something that you would like to have discussed. And considering that there's a month to go until Election Day, that there's still plenty of time for these candidates to kind of see where they stand on Ontario Place.
Absolutely. Like, Ontario Place is now a key election issue in this race. There have been so many days that have been completely focused on Ontario Place. We're really pleased with how that's going. And we're pleased to see mayoral candidates such as, Olivia Chow, Josh Matlow, saying that they will stand up for Ontario Place and not just roll over for the government. We need a new mayor who will stand up for Torontonians and stand up for our public space. And we actually have just launched a mayoral tracker today, which people can see at ontarioplaceforall.com/vote to see who we suggest you should avoid and who you should support.
Do you have one that you want to say right now that you want to support?
Yeah, so we have quite a few supportive mayoral candidates. I listed Olivia Chow, Josh Matlow, Chloe Brown. Is
there one that stands above the others?
I would say that there's sort of an upper tier, and I was just mentioning some of them, but each one of them has supported us in different ways. Like Anthony Peruzza has recorded videos at the Science Centre in Ontario Place, standing up for them and bringing more of a suburban voice to the discussion. So each one of them is welcome to add to this important discussion.
Norm DePasquale, co-chair for Ontario Place for All. We appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.